Okay, the test is going to be on Thursday, and this is the review. First, we're going to start with the graphing. That's going to take 4 points on the test. And whenever you're asked to graph and find solution, you're actually looking for the point of intersection. In this case, the point of intersection looks like a -5, -4. Because on the x is -5, on the y is -4. In this one right here, the solution is not given yet, but if you continue with the lines, the solution will be right here. In this case, I can't give you a solution, but I can approximate it. That looks somewhere near like -15 and about 20. On this test, it's going to be 4 points on it, and pretty much you're going to have to be able to find the point of intersection if it's given, or if you have to stretch out the lines to get it. Second thing on the test is substitution. There's only 18 points on that. And whenever you do substitution, you have to go ahead and write the easy situation here. This is the one that already has the letter solved out. Second equation goes here. And the last situation goes over here. You rewrite the original one. In this case, you're going to have to take a letter out and put something else in its place. You have to substitute it. So you could take the y out and put the 5x in. This is extremely important that you scratch out the letter. It's not always x, it's not always y. It'll switch. So remember, whatever letter is solved out, that's what comes out. So it's kind of like taking this out and putting it in here. So what you do is you go find the letter y, scratch it out, and take the 5x and put it in that spot. Now since there's a number in front of it, that goes in parentheses. So I have x minus 2, open parentheses, 5x equals -18. You always do this first, so you multiply that. Becomes x minus 10x equals -18. And now we solve for x. But the problem is we have two x's. So we're going to combine like terms. 1 minus 10x is -9x equals -18. And if we divide by -9, x equals to 2. Now, we've already done substitution. We'll take this out, put that in. So we're going to repeat it. Take x out this time, put 2 in. So I go find the letter x, I take it out. I'm going to put 2 in a spot inside parentheses because there's a number in front of it. So that gives me y equals 5 times 2, and that gives me 10. So my first solution is 210. Now we're going to repeat it again. Again, it says use substitution, which means I write the solved out equation by itself here in the beginning. The standard form right here. In this case, it's not actually standard form. And the solved out again over here. So, this letter is going to come out. Last time was a y. This time is an x. It keeps switching. Last time there was only 5x on the right-hand side. This time I have a 3y plus 2. All of that goes in. So I go find the x, scratch it out, put that in. So this has a number in front of it. We're going to go ahead and put it in parentheses. 3 times 3y plus 2 minus 14 equals to 1. Parentheses means multiplication, so I'm going to multiply that out and get 9y plus 6 minus 14 equals to 1. And here, just like we combine like terms or both x's, here we're going to combine like terms. This time they're both numbers. This gives me 9y minus 8 equals to 1. And if I add 8 to both sides, 9y equals to 9. If you divide by 9, y equals to 1. So we take the y out, put the 1 in. Here's the letter y. We're going to take it out. Put a 1 right there in parentheses because there's a 3 in front of it. And x becomes 3 plus 2, which is 5. And again, it doesn't make a difference which one we solve first. We always want to put the x value here, the y value here. X is 5, y is 1. There's another type of question on the test where it asks you is what would the first step in substitution be? Now this is substitution, I spelled it wrong. In order to do substitution, you do the same thing you did before. You take this out and you put that in. This is your first step. Taking the letter y out and putting this in here. Now what would that look like? It would look like 3x plus 4, open parentheses, 2x minus 4 equals to 6. So in this section, be careful not to take it over here, because what we have is this letter comes out, and this comes in. So this letter has to be scratched out. Not the first one, but the one we set up over here. Now, that's the first two questions on the test. We had a graphing question and we had some substitution questions. And this one right here, we're going to have an elimination question. Okay? For the elimination question, this is when you sign them up right on top of each other. Okay? Now, a lot of us are kind of comfortable using parentheses, but in this case, we're not going to have to use parentheses unless we need it. So let's check to see if we need it. It says 2x, that's a positive 5x. That means we're going to add them. That becomes 7x. 3 minus 3 is 0. If the letter eliminates, then we don't need to use the parentheses. But if they don't eliminate, that's when we need the parentheses. This positive 1 right here, so that's a plus sign. 13 plus 1 is 14. If you divide by 7, x is 2. Once you got the first part of the answer, now we need to find the second part by substitution. So you rewrite the original equation, and you take x out, you put 2 in. Here's x, you take it out. You put 2 in there. Since there's a number in front of it that goes in parentheses, and 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 3y is 13. Now, in order to solve for y, we've got to get rid of that 4, so we subtract it from both sides. And since this is multiplying, we divide by 3 for both sides. And the answer there is 3. Let's do that again. Alright, here we go. Now the most important thing when we're doing these is to check to see if we need to use parentheses or not. Over here, they crossed out. There was no need for parentheses. Over here, 5 plus 2 is 7. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2y. The letters didn't cross out. And since the letters did not cross out, we're going to have to use parentheses because if they don't eliminate, we can't do elimination. So I take a look at the smaller number. That's 2. And I ask myself, 2 times what gives me this number? And the answer is nothing. Let's take a look at this one. This is a 2. 2 times what gives me this number? And that one's actually a lot easier. 2 times 2 gives me 4. This is already negative, this is already positive, so I only need a positive 2. So, I rewrite my equation. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 2 times 13 is 26. Most of the problems happen because you don't multiply all three of them with 2. Remember, this is parentheses to start multiplying. This is parentheses to stop multiplying. The bottom one remains the same. Now watch this. 4 minus 4 is 0. 10 positive 2 you add, that's 12x. You add those two because that's also a positive 10, that's 36. And if you divide by 12, x is 3. So I got the x portion of it. Now I need to find the y portion. In order to find the y portion, you rewrite the original equation. Again, any one of those will work. It makes no difference which one. X comes out. 3 comes in. And since there's a 5 in front of it, you put in parentheses. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract 15 from both sides. And you divide by negative 2. And the answer is 31. Again, let's do it one more time. Again, we're going to go ahead and get started. 5 plus 1 is 6. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. The letters did not eliminate. Since the letters did not eliminate, we cannot do elimination. So what we're going to have to do instead is use parentheses. So I look for the smaller number. 1 is smaller than 5. And I just ask myself the simple question, 1 times what becomes 5? And that's easy, 1 times 5. Now the only thing different now is, do I want this to be a positive 5 or do I want this to be a negative 5? 5 plus 5 gives me 10. But 5 minus 5 crosses out. So I'm going to use a negative 5 right here. So I rewrite the original equation. And this time I multiply by negative 5. And not only the first one, but I multiply by everybody. Open parentheses, start multiplying here. Close parentheses, that means you stop after you get to that parentheses right here. Now watch this, 5 minus 5 is 0. It eliminates, so now we can use elimination. Negative 3 minus 5, it tells you to subtract, is negative 8y. Negative 17, this is positive 25, plus 25 is positive 8. And if you divide by negative 8, y is negative 1. Now I need to find the x. In order to find the x, I rewrite the original equation. take y out, put negative 1 in. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. If I subtract 3 from both sides, I get negative 20. If I divide by 5, x equals negative 4. As you realize, there's 28 points here, so there's a lot more elimination to do. Let's try another one. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. So obviously we need to use parentheses. So I ask myself, 2 times what gives me 3? Nothing. 4 times what gives me 5? Nothing. So I can't do the singular parentheses, because not one of them will give me the other number. So now this is when I have to use a double parentheses. So you notice there's 3 different types here. There's the one that you don't need parentheses at all. There's the one where you need 1 parentheses. And these are the ones where you need 2 parentheses. In this case, you take this number right down here, you crisscross it. Take this number, bring it out here, and you tell me whether that's going to work or not. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. But that's 6 plus 6. I don't want them to add. I want them to subtract. So I make this a negative 2. 3 times 2 is 6x. 3 times 5 is 15y. 3 times 9 is 27. This gives me negative 6x, negative 8y, negative 20. 6 minus 6 is 0. 15 minus 8 is 7. 27 minus 20 is also 7. If you divide by 7, y is 1. Now, once we got y is 1, I take y out, put 1 in. So I rewrite the original equation, scratch y out, and put 1 in. That gives me 2x plus 5 equals to 9. And if I subtract 5 from both sides, 2x is 4. And if I divide by 2, x is 2. Now, I know I'm going kind of fast, so your job is to pay attention, listen to it, and then once I'm done, the teacher will pause it and you can copy this stuff down. But notice, no parentheses because they cross out already. 1 parentheses because this will make these 2 cross out. 2 parentheses because you can't make it cross out any other way. So this is your last resort. If you don't want to go to this one first, you go that one last. There's 2 more types of questions here on the test. What says is, what would you multiply the first equation with to eliminate the x value? Now, they only want you to multiply the first equation. So you can't use double parentheses. They're not asking for that. They only want you to do one of them. So this is a 2. I need to make it into this number. So 2 times what gives me this number? That's easy. 2 times 3. Now, you don't have to solve that. You just have to give me this number. 2 times 3 becomes 6x. Plus 3y equals 36. On the bottom, you got negative 6x plus 4y equals 18. The x's cross out. So what do? You pick a number, you work it out, and you make sure it does. The answer there is 3. That's what you will multiply the first equation with. Let's try it again. This time I want to eliminate the y. So I'm going to take a look at the y. This is 1. 1 needs to become this number. So 1 times what gives me this number? That's easy. 1 times 3. Alright, but check it out. If I do this one, it becomes 6x plus 3y equals 66. 7x plus 3y equals 8. It didn't work. It didn't work because this is positive. And this is also positive. 3 plus 3 is 6. It didn't cross out. So not just 3, negative 3. If you do that, now they'll cross out. So not only do you have to check the number, but you also have to check the sign. So the best way to get these correct is to actually work them out and see if they cross out or not. It's the last part of the test. The last part of the test has to do with word problems. And guys, this is half of your test. So it's very important that you guys realize that there's a lot of tricks here to pay attention to, and there's a lot of work to be done. So let's go ahead and get started. First set of notes we're going to help you out with is in coins word problems. This is only in coins, but it also can pertain to other ones. Whenever they mention the word total number of coins, you need to know how you write that out and what letters would you use. Now you write that out by adding, because in order to get any kind of total you have to add things together, and what letters you would use. I would also try to use the first letter of each word. It just makes it easier to understand what we're talking about. For example, John has a total of 15 coins. And those 15 coins are made up of nickels and quarters. Now, whenever they ask you for a total number, and these are coins, then you have to tell them what kind of coins you have. Well, you take your nickels, and you take your quarters, and when you sum them together, when you add them together, you end up with 15 coins. Let's do that again. Thomas has 20 coins. Now, notice this time they didn't say the word total, but they insinuated it. Thomas has 20 coins in his pockets, and these coins are either dimes or pennies. So you go the dimes and the pennies. If you add them together, you have a total of 20 coins. Now, this is when you use the word total. But there's another one that's a little tricky. And this time, in coin word problems, this time they mention a dollar value. Here's how many coins in total. Here's how much money was there. Now, that's a big difference. Because for money, you have to go money plus money. That gives you money. So if you have a total of money, then you have to use the money value for everything. So if they just tell you how many there are, you use the letters. If they mention the dollar value, you have to mention the dollar value yourself. So what will you use to write out the equation? The dollar value. What letters will you use? Again, I will always use the first letter. I will try to if I can, unless they tell us to use different letters. So, Mike has a total of $2.75. Again, 15 coins, that's not money. $2.75, that is money, dollar value. So I can't just use Q and N. I can't use these letters. I have to use what the value of these letters are. So quarter is 0.25. And, because that's the total, the nickels are 0.05. And that equals 275. Now it works. When it just mentions the coins, you just write down the letters. If it mentions the dollar value, you have to write the dollar values for these. Now, the biggest mistake that I noticed on the test is people tell us that this is 25 quarter. This doesn't work, because if you went to McDonald's and you ordered, and this is what was on the thing, that's $25. If it was 25 cents that you owed, it would look like that. So make sure that you're putting a 0 in the front to show that that's the point value. Let's do that again. John has 352. Now, you could totally insinuate that that's the total. That is a total, but that's a money value, which means you can't use Q and P. You have to give me the money value for quarters and pennies. So again, the money value for a quarter is 0.25. Again, total. So you add the money value for a penny, 0.1 penny, and that equals altogether 352. So money plus money equals the money. All right. There's also a trick whenever they use the word less than or more than. Actually, what you're looking for is the word than. Every time they say more than or less than, you have to switch. For example, if I say I have 5 less than twice x, then you do 5. Less than means minus. Twice x is 2 times x. But because it says the word than, you flip. This one goes here. This one goes here. It's not actually 5 minus 2x. It's actually 2x minus 5. That also works with more than. So what is the trick when a word problem, you see the words less than or more than, you flip. You flip them. What is the trick in a word problem when you see the words total and sum? We talked about that. You add them. What 3 words are we especially looking for? Per, each, and every. Most of the time, whenever those words are used, that's your slope. That's where the letter x goes. So now we're going to do some sample problems. Exactly 512 tickets were sold. In a talent show in Cypress Middle School, the number of students the tickets sold were 3 times the number of the adult tickets. How many adult tickets were sold? How many student tickets were sold? All right, let's go ahead and get started. We have a total of 512 tickets. There, again, there was no mention of money, so this is just easy. Adult plus student equals a total of 512. So total without money, you just write down the letters by themselves. Now they also told us the number of students tickets sold were 3 times the number of adult tickets. So the students equals 3 times the number of adults. So now we can go ahead and work this out. This is set up as a substitution. S comes out, 3A comes in. So A plus 3A equals 512. S comes out, 3A comes in. So that's A plus 3A, which is 4A, because 1A and 3A is 4A. And if you divide by 4, you end up with 128. So you sold for the adults 128. Now, how many student tickets were sold? Again, that's pretty easy. We'll go to the last part. A comes out. 128 comes here. So that gives me S equals 3 times 128. So the student tickets were 384. And that's how we find it, okay? We write it up and we solve it. Now, just because there's not enough space here, we're just going to go ahead and write out the equations without actually solving them. And it also saves time. I've already showed you how to solve it, so you can just go ahead and do it yourself. Sum is the same thing as the word total, so that means we're adding. There's no dollar value, so we don't need anything with the letters. The sum of two numbers, let's call that x for the small plus y equals 74. Okay? Now the smaller number, let's call that x because that letter comes first, is means equal, 16 less than the bigger number, we'll call that y. Now notice what they said here, less than, so we're going to have to flip these two. So final answer, x plus y equals 74, but this is x equals y minus 16. Again, this is substitution, take this out, put this in. We're not going to solve it, but you can. Mike makes $8 per, that was one of the special words we're looking for, plus 15. So Mike makes 8x plus 15. And there's another Mike, I guess there's two Mikes, and he makes $9.50. We'll call him Mike 2, so we'll use the letter T to say his name. $9.50, but again, one of those special words is per, so we put an x plus 4. Again, in this case, it's set up like that, and you can use whatever you want. I would use the calculator for this problem because it says starts off with y equals. Movie tickets cost $6 for adults, $2 for children. 175 tickets were sold total, and the cash receipt was $750 total. Now this is really easy because remember, this is a dollar value. So dollar value goes with dollar value goes with dollar value. This is not a dollar value. So that one goes without anything. So adults plus students is 175. But this is $6 adults plus $2 children. I'll put C. Let's put C for children. Equals 750. So that's a 6. So money plus money equals the money. This one right here, this will not be substitution, it will be elimination. The length of a rectangle is twice the width. Again, L, W. The length means equal to twice the width. The perimeter, this is completely different. The perimeter of a rectangle is this one, plus this one, plus this one, plus this one. So that's 2 W's, 2 L's. Equals to 90. This will be a substitution problem. Movie tickets cost $6 for adults, $2 for children. Oh, I already done that one, so that was an extra one. Sorry about that. Wendy needs to order a total of 330 t-shirts. That's a total. The number of medium t-shirts she will order will be twice the number of small t-shirts. So we have, this is our first one, this is our second one. Based on this information, would be ordered to, okay, let's take a look and check it out. So it's a total of 330. So you have medium plus small equals 330. And then we have that the medium is, remember, is equal to twice the small. We might have to solve this one, so I'll rewrite it in the back. This comes out. This comes in. 2s plus 1s equals 330. So 3s equals 330. And if I divide by 3, I end up with S equals 110. S comes out, 110 comes in, and the medium is 220. So, we have to buy 220 mediums, 110 small. The small is 110. The medium is 220. They switched them. So, is it reasonable? No. Why not? Because it's 220 small and 220 medium and 110 small. Alright, thank you so much. Good luck on your test.